Hey everyone, Biodroid here, and I thank you very much for returning to part 3 of my Spotlight series. And after already doing a video on a special class bot and an airtype bot, I thought it was about time that I focus on a gunner in this video. And I picked one of the not so obvious choices for a Spotlight video. There are many great gunners in this game. But this one here I picked is for sure not on the most favorite list of most players, because he's a little sneaky and you don't really see all his upsides in the first place, and he looks more like an enhancement bot, but he's absolutely worth taking a look at. So this week's video is about Mirage. Let's talk about his stats. Mirage is a gunner and therefore has the basic balance of damage and health, which means high damage, low health. This basically is the same with all gunners. It varies a little from bot to bot, but it's basically the gunner scheme. And he also has the general speed for all gunners, which is 1.8, and of course the long range distance, which makes this class of bots so interesting. As you can see in this image here, you can see how he ranks with his fellow Autobots, and he's quite in the middle of everything. So he's a pretty balanced guy. A little more health, little higher on health, little lower on DPS, but generally pretty good, balanced, well balanced. The interesting part is usually every Autobot has a Decepticon counterpart, ability-wise and stat-wise, and mode-wise. But this is a different topic. We'll get to this when we look at the character model. Decepticon counterpart for Mirage is Breakdown, and as you can see, they did things a little different this time, because Breakdown doesn't have the same stats as Mirage has. So they gave him a significantly higher damage and therefore even lower health. I don't know what their motivation here was. Maybe they wanted to give the reckless nature of the Stunticon some credit or something like that. I don't know. If that's the case, it's actually pretty cool. And it could be true, as they have the same, or had the same approach with Off-Road and Sideswipe, for example. But they didn't do it with all the Stunticons, as you can see with Dragstrip and Hound, who are also counterparts. But it's nice to know that Breakdown has higher damage and lower health, and is not completely identical to Mirage. What is identical is the ability. And we'll just have a short talk here. We'll get into the ability into deep a little later in this video. Generally, his ability is that he fires 6 rockets who do some damage and disable the buildings they hit for, in this case, a level 6 ability for 6 seconds, which is pretty decent and can be helpful. And the ability is not that expensive, actually. So you can use it quite often. And therefore he is a very good supporting bot in almost every squad. But all of this into detail later. What is the big mystery about Mirage, and the main reason why I did this video, I chose him for this spotlight, is the fact that there is no statement on how much damage these rockets actually do. And I wanted to find out, and that's why I made this video, and I did find out. I'll show you later. Of course you can do the same, just watch your replays and do a little math, but if you want to know, just stay with me and I'll show you a little later how this works. Now let's take a look at this character model. So there he is. And I gotta say, this is one of my least favorite character models in the whole game. I don't like it a bit. I don't think it is a good representation of Mirage. He's way too thin. He looks like you could break him in half with just one hand. I don't like that look. I mean, look at the thighs here. It's ridiculous. But this is the approach they took. Although I don't know why. The head sculpt also does nothing for me. Doesn't really look like Mirage. I mean, you can yeah, you can see it is Mirage if you're a little into Transformers, but yeah, not my favorite mold by far. If you want a toy that represents that, I think it's loosely based on the classics mold. I think this is the best fit for this, and this is a little strange to me because so much of this game is based on the whole Prime Wars trilogy, so Titan's Return, the Combiner Wars, Power of the Primes. I don't know why they did the classics approach here, no clue, but it's definitely a toy that comes closest to it. And if you want something that is has maximum accuracy concerning the color scheme, you got to go with the Henkai version, or the re-release. They did a re-release of this toy with in a 3-pack with Ironhide and Hound, if I got that right. But it's pretty expensive to get. Henkai should be easier to find, and Henkai is a little more accurate because it has the blue details on the chest and everything. Yeah, but that's basically it. Let's get into alt mode, which is also a train wreck for me. It doesn't look like Mirage. I don't like it. The green windshield is completely off, and yeah, it's just like no, not for me, not made for me. But yeah, I would have preferred the Combiner Wars approach here, definitely. It's a way cooler figure, and the funny thing is, he actually is part of a Combiner in this game. He's part of Optimus Maximus. I'll show this in a minute. And so I don't know why they did not go with the Combiner Wars toy or Combiner Wars design, which is better and would fit the Combiner approach way better than this one does. So yeah, no points for the character design this time. And here we are in the Combiner lab. You can see Mirage on the right hand side of the Optimus Maximus crew, which is Sunstreaker, Ironhide, Optimus Prime of course, and Prowl. And when you combine them, Mirage becomes his left leg. And as I already said, I would have preferred the Combiner Wars approach. They did not take here. In fact, Optimus Maximus isn't true to the Combiner Wars idea at all. I mean, he has this golden shield here on his chest, and I think the chest minion for the toy version is a Legends class Hot Rod, and yeah, Hot Rod is not part of this Combiner. Not too bad game-wise or gameplay-wise, because you just need 5 bots instead of 6, which is cool. But I don't like these inconsistencies. Either go that way or that way. But this, yeah, I would have rather seen them just scrap this Combiner. It's not the best Combiner anyway. It's actually my least favorite Combiner because I don't like the abilities that much. You can't really direct him on the battlefield, and yeah, it's to me at least it seems to be the least effective Combiner. But he has the impressive looks. At least something. So concerning his general attack, there's not much to him. He's your standard gunner, meaning that he fires single bullets, he can shoot over walls, has a long range distance, and does some pretty good damage. So let's have a look here. So as you will see, there's no initial damage. He just starts firing his artillery at everything that comes into range, and he fires over walls like here. No splash damage like some gunners have, just single targets hit, and every bullet does his stated DPS. So that's pretty much it. And he can fire at, I'll show you this one, at laser turrets without being shot back at. Same goes for shock towers, not a shock tower in this base here. As you can see, he fires at the laser turret and takes no damage at all. And then he goes for the HQ, and that's pretty much it. Now for how the ability actually works, it's not too complicated, but I want to show you anyway, just for completion of the whole video. So there comes my Mirage, and target the missiles like that. As you can see, it hits these 4 buildings here in the cluster, so area-wise it's like you can hit a cluster of 4, no problem, a line of 3, no problem, and the damage is dealt in the moment when the rockets actually hit. You'll see it right here. There we go, damage is dealt, and then the EMP effect comes in, which you can't see here because this one was a shock tower. So not the best example here, but I think you saw it in the first 2 uses of the ability. So rockets fly in, 6 of them. Area-wise, yeah, cluster of 4, line of 3, not a big problem. I think it's pretty similar to Prowl and Alpha Bravo, maybe a little bit wider. I just couldn't get my grip on it really, but something around that. And yeah, damage done when the rockets hit, and then the EMP sets in for the respective amount of seconds, depending on the level of your ability. So yeah, this is how it works. Not the hardest thing in the world. Now that we saw how the ability actually works in battle, let's get to the still unsolved mystery of how high is the damage these rockets actually deal. And I did some research, looked at screenshots from all my battles, used my 2-star, 3-star, 4-star Mirage, even used my breakdown from my Decepticon account. And all in all, it sums up to the fact that every rocket does a damage of 70% of Mirage's basic attack. So if you have, for example, a Mirage dealing 100 damage per second with his basic attack, every single rocket he fires deals a damage of 70. And that's basically it. The 70% are not affected by the ability level. It doesn't matter which level the ability is. The only thing that is affected by upgrading the ability actually is the duration of the EMP. That's all. The 70% never change. And the 70% are the same at all star ratings. No difference between 2, 3, and 4-star Mirage. So if you want to increase the damage of the ability, what you have to do is leveling up Mirage himself. Of course, there are differences between the DPS of 2, 3, and 4-star bots, so the ability damage is varied between the star ratings, but not by the percentage of the ability itself, but by the basic attack of Mirage. And yeah, so if let's take my 4-star Mirage here, I'm close to 300 damage, and if I take 70% of that, that's around 210 per rocket, so I do a damage of approximately 1,200 something if all rockets hit the target. And you can make all rockets hit the target, just directly target a defense, not in the area or the corner of the building, just go directly at the building. And as the rockets do a little bit of splash damage, you can really manage to let all 6 rockets hit one building and deal the full damage. That's basically it. Power core wise, I was a little bit clueless in the beginning when I got Mirage and didn't know what to put on him. Of course, volatile mixture is the obvious choice for most gunners because the special ability damage is increased, which is always great. And I wasn't sure what happens when you put it on Mirage because there's no damage stated in the ability description and so on. I was thinking it might extend the duration of the EMP, but all of that is not the case. It actually pushes the damage, increases the damage of the rocket, so it works and it does what it is supposed to do. So yeah, volatile mixture is a good choice for Mirage. Of course, his rocket damage isn't near as high as let's say Prowl or Bravo or I don't know, even Sea Spray I think does more damage with his Tornado. But it works and you can do that and it's fine. I have a volatile mixture on mine because I think it's the best choice. You can always go with a flak jacket, of course, and you can go with all your standard cores like attack and vitality. Although, as I mentioned in the cup video, I think in my estimation vitality is a little bit more effective just slightly, but at least a little bit more effective. So if you're ever on the edge between two cores, vitality and attack, I'd always go with the vitality. But this is my personal choice. Do whatever you feel is appropriate for your bot. Final thoughts. Yeah, Mirage is the standard gunner in the game. Nothing that really makes him special. He's definitely a good one. I don't think there are really bad bots in this game. Some are more, some are less useful, but I think they all have their place and they all have their use. But some just spring more to the eye than others, and Mirage definitely is not one of those. His attack scheme is pretty basic gunner. You'll find several of that type in the game, so yeah, you have something to choose from, and usually people will choose Prowl or Alpha Bravo over Mirage just because their ability is better or more effective, let's say it like this. I think Mirage's ability is cool, more towards the end of a battle. I usually found him useful when I'm running out of ability points and just need to buy myself some time. And then his EMP rockets come in quite handy, and they can also deal that little amount of extra damage that might be needed to take out the final defenses of a base. So he has his use, and I think if you're looking for a secondary gunner in your team that is just there to deal out damage with his attack and has a handy ability that might drag you over the line in a battle, Mirage might be made for you. No advice on combos in this video, because I don't think there is really a combo that makes sense in the way that it adds something to Mirage or Mirage adds something to the other bot. His ability is so basic, and yeah, of course you can combine him with all the other area attacks that are around there just to add some extra damage. You can do that, but it's such a no-brainer that I don't think that it needs to be mentioned here. Same goes for everything that has to do with glass, gas, and all that stuff. There's no obvious standout combo for Mirage, so I just scraped that part. And yeah, same for the Decepticon counterpart. I already told you that Breakdown on the Decepticon side has a higher damage and lower health, but besides that, it's all of the same. Same attack scheme, same way the ability is handled. Of course, because he has higher DPS, his ability does a little more damage, but I don't think it's significant, so yeah, no use in putting up an extra video. And yeah, just because I forgot to mention it in the character model part, his counterpart character model-wise, mold-wise, is not Breakdown, but Dragstrip. Same complaints here concerning the character model, and if you want to go with a Dragstrip toy that somehow looks like the Earthwars Dragstrip, you have to go with the Classics mold as well. Yeah, so that's so far it on Mirage. Good secondary gunner, good enhancement bot, not a game-changing bot in any way, but he might save you a battle or two. So don't push him too far behind. He can be quite handy. Thank you very much for watching. Bye, Droid out.